Shirley Strawberry was on a phone call with her husband in this conversation. And there were a couple of other comments that she made that, you know, has people questioning.
Here's the alleged couple talking about Marjorie.
You know what? They have Marjorie has her own spa, her own workout room.
Does she look old though? Does she look like she's getting old?
No, I haven't seen her, but she looks good on her pictures.
And then they drop the bomb.
She ain't there?
No, she's not there. If she was there, we probably wouldn't have been all over the house. Wouldn't have done it. No, you know he's scared.
Damn, so right. God, what you say? You know he's scared. God.
They didn't end the conversation there, though.
I knew I wasn't supposed to be in there, but he brought us in, so I said, okay. But, I mean, I'm glad he did because it gives you a chance to dream.
We all know that with celebrities, things are mostly not always as they're painted out to be. But it looks like the Harvey family takes this view to new heights, as recent news seem to have exposed their brand for being nothing short of a facade. Well, in truth, it's less about Steve and more about his wife Marjorie, as she's just been allegedly exposed as the dictator of the Harvey household. Apart from the fact that Marjorie may be the one in charge of Steve's whole brand, running it how best she sees fit, it seems she might also not be the perfect angel her dear husband has described her to the world as. You can say these aren't just rumors or random stories, since the details came from one of Steve's own coworkers. And who better to spill the tea on what goes on behind closed doors than someone who works with the Harvey brand? It's a bumpy road filled with lies and deceit. So if the truth is important to you, grab some popcorn. She's, nope. Damn. Wow. She looked at us as the help, you know. You did tell me that. That's not a good feeling. Yeah. There are probably only a handful of people in the entertainment industry who can touch Steve Harvey's brand. Transitioning from a successful career in comedy to running his own daytime TV show that is built on motivating people and giving them relationship advice. You could say Steve has made it. But what would a relationship coach be without his partner, or in this case, his wife Marjorie Harvey? Expectedly, everything Steve has said about his wife on his show or red carpets has always been related to how amazing she is and how she was the one person who stood by his side and guided him through the darkest moments of his life. As it would turn out, Marjorie may not actually be the saint her loving husband has painted her out to be to the world. According to reports from a couple of hours ago, one of the members of the Steve Harvey show has just revealed some details about the side of Marjorie Harvey that Steve has been keeping from the world. And let me be the first to tell you, it's not looking pretty for the model. She was complimentary. She said she looked good from her pictures, that Marjorie wasn't there, she hasn't seen her in person, and that if Marjorie had been home, they probably wouldn't have been invited over. Let's just say things may be a little awkward at the next taping of the Steve Harvey Morning Show. Per the news, one of Harvey's co-hosts, Shirley Strawberry, recently got caught allegedly sharing some unflattering thoughts about her boss's wife, Marjorie, during a leaked phone call. Shirley was reportedly speaking to her partner, Ernest Williams, who is currently incarcerated for several alleged crimes, including gun possession, theft, and fraud, among other charges. During the alleged recent conversation the two had over the phone, Shirley opened up about being a guest at the Harvey home, gushing over their luxurious spa and workout centers, while also making some suggestive comments about Steve and Marjorie's relationship. At first, it started with the host speaking about Marjorie's decked-out spa room, saying, Marjorie has her own spa, her own workout room. She could go in there and get massages every day. People come to her house and work her out and all of that. I was like, oh God, what a dream. But their discussion took an interesting turn after they started to get into details about Marjorie's looks. After Williams questioned if the Harvey matriarch was looking old, Shirley said she didn't think so, revealing that she looked good in pictures, but hadn't seen her in person recently. Confused, Williams then questioned if she was at the gathering Shirley recently attended, to which he responded, no, she's not there. If she was there, we probably wouldn't have been all over the house. You know he's scared. I knew I wasn't supposed to be in there, but he brought us in. She looks good in her picture. Oh, she ain't due? No, she's not there. She was there. We probably wouldn't have been all over the house. Shirley then went on to talk about how glad she was to have the opportunity to explore their home, however, because it allows one to dream about being able to attain that lavish lifestyle. Elsewhere in the conversation, William seemingly suggested that it had been a long time since the radio collaborators spent time together socially, and that he was sure Steve was happy to see her. Shirley seemed to confirm, stating, "As is the help. You know it is what it is. She looks at us as the help, you know. You did tell me that that's not a good feeling. Yeah, right, and that's, you know, it is what it is." In so many words, it seems Shirley gets an unwelcoming feeling when Marjorie is around, which assumably goes unchecked by Steve because he's allegedly scared of her. This is in contrast to everything Steve has said about his wife since she entered his life. Just a while back, during a live taping of The Family Feud, the comedian shared with the audience members the story of how the two met. The first time these two locked eyes was back in 1987 at a comedy club that Steve was performing at in Memphis called the Comedy Zone. She had walked into the show late and took a seat in the front while he just stared at her, mesmerized by her beauty. The comedian took the opportunity to speak to her during his set. "The first thing I said to Marjorie was, 'Excuse me, I don't know who you are, but I'm going to marry you one day,' Steve said." This story of him and his wife is one that Steve has repeatedly told the world, emphasizing how she changed his life. But it seems that along with maybe even their love story, might have only been a move to shape the narrative about Marjorie. Now all of those narratives seem to be falling apart, not just Marjorie alone, but for the pair, as this is only one in a couple of headlines that have come out about them. Only a couple of days back, the Harvey name was all over the news when it was reported that Steve and Marjorie were reportedly having problems after a cheating scandal. That's right, the comedian cum motivational speaker was recently caught in hot water after reports spread that his wife Marjorie was reportedly cheating on him with Steve's own bodyguard and personal chef William Big Boom Freeman. Ironically, the sensational icon, who once wrote a book about relationships and how to please a woman, had the tides turned around due to the cheating issue. Isn't that something? The story had fans feeling sorry for Steve Harvey. One person wrote, "My heart is broken for Steve Harvey. It is not nice what Mrs. Marjorie Harvey did to him. We don't know what is the inside story, but I feel that Steve is a very good man and works hard for his family." But the reports about Marjorie and Steve didn't end there. There were also talks of the couple parting their ways. Some sources even claimed that their relationship is in a crucial phase. News outlets at the time also reported that Steve and Marjorie were on the way to a $200 million divorce bombshell. The rumor got more fire when she allegedly told an interviewer to address her as Marjorie Bridges Woods, which is the name she had from her previous marriage. As the story goes, this statement was enough to stir the tension between the fashion blogger and the comedian, considering that Marjorie has a pretty eventful past. See, Marjorie had already been through 2 failed marriages with 3 kids, all before becoming the saint that can do no wrong in Steve's eyes. Marjorie and Townsend were married in the 1990s and had 2 children together. However, their marriage was allegedly plagued by Jim's involvement in illegal activities, which ultimately led to his arrest and imprisonment. Jim Townsend later made headlines in recent years after reportedly writing a tell-all memoir about his marriage to the star in the 90s. According to Radar Online, Jim decided to speak out about his relationship with Marjorie, claiming that he has no allegiance to her. "I wrote 2/3 of the book in prison," he claimed. She showed her hand. "I'm going to tell my story. It doesn't matter if she knows about it." He allegedly did not want to take any rash actions because of his children. According to Radar Online, it appears Townsend was actually telling the truth, as Marjorie was reportedly under investigation by the FBI during their marriage, with investigators labeling Townsend as a drug lord. Although Marjorie was never charged with a drug crime, it seems her association with Townsend brought unwanted attention to her. Now we've all made mistakes in life, And maybe that could have been the case with the model's marriage to Townsend, who was a drug dealer. But how do we explain the fact that her second husband was, in fact, also a drug dealer? Marjorie's second marriage was to Darnell Woods, whom she wed in the early 2000s. Little is known about their relationship, except that Woods, like Townsend, was a drug dealer as well, and the fact that their marriage was relatively short-lived. Despite the lack of information about their marriage, Darnell Woods has remained largely silent about his relationship with her. He has not spoken publicly about their marriage, and there are no reports of him making any public statements about his ex-wife Marjorie Harvey. She has also not spoken about her marriage to Woods publicly. While the fashion icon has tried to steer clear from her past, it's repeatedly come back to bite her in the behind over the years each time she makes the news. And this time is no different, as one fan posted. 2 of Marjorie's kids are siblings and cousins. This has nothing to do with what's going on with them. Now just wanted to share this. Looks like people might finally be catching on to who Marjorie really is. Maybe, just maybe, this will lead to more details about her coming out. But until then, we'll wait for her explanation on why her husband might be scared of her. That's it for this video. Goodbye.